All right, let's see what kind of prank this is.
Wait. What in the world? This changes everything!
Have you ever heard a strange noise in your house at night and tried to ignore it? What if that noise was a child crying and you don't have any children? That's exactly what happened to Olan Schaefer, and it turned his quiet life upside down. It all started when his kind neighbor, Josephine, came to his door with a worried look on her face. She insisted she heard a little girl sobbing from inside his house around 3 in the morning. Olan politely explained that it must be a mistake. He and his wife, Marcy, lived alone. But Josephine's concern was genuine, and it planted a seed of unease. When Olan told Marcy, she went pale. The idea of a crying child in their home was deeply unsettling. That night, Olan couldn't sleep. He listened to every creak and groan of the old house. Then, right around 3 a.m., his phone buzzed. It was a text from Josephine. "I hear it again." Olan strained his ears, but heard nothing. Still, the air in the house felt thick with tension. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. His instincts, sharpened by his career as an audio specialist, took over. The next day, he decided to investigate. He set up professional-grade audio recorders and cameras all over the house. Marcy watched him, her face a mask of anxiety, desperate for an answer. That night, they waited. The results were chilling. The equipment picked up the faint, unmistakable sound of a child crying. The sound seemed to be coming from inside the walls. Olan's heart pounded in his chest as he analyzed the audio data. This was impossible. He grabbed a thermal camera and scanned the walls. And there was a faint, human-shaped heat signature moving behind the plaster. A wave of terror washed over him. He looked at Marcy and said the words he never thought he'd say. "Call the police." When the officers arrived, they were skeptical at first, but Olan's evidence was undeniable. They focused on a section of the basement wall where the heat signature was strongest. As they carefully pried open the wall, they uncovered a hidden, nightmarish world. A series of narrow, claustrophobic tunnels snaked through the bones of the house. The insulation was stripped away, replaced by makeshift blankets, empty food wrappers, and a disturbing discovery. Tiny, almost invisible holes drilled into the walls, giving a clear view into every room. Someone had been living inside their home, watching their every move. The police swarmed the passages, but they were empty. The intruder had a hidden exit and had vanished into the night. The next morning, the house felt violated, contaminated. It was no longer a home, but a crime scene. Detectives questioned Olan, asking if he had any enemies. At first, he drew a blank. His life was quiet, ordinary, then a memory surfaced. A man named Willie Calhoun. Willie had tried to buy the house before Olan did. He claimed the property had been in his family for generations and became aggressive and resentful when Olan outbid him. The police looked into Calhoun and discovered a history of harassment and unstable behavior. It was unlong before they found a match. Fingerprints found in the tunnels belonged to Willie Calhoun, but by then he was already gone. Olan refused to be a passive victim, waiting in fear. He was an expert in audio forensics, and he decided to use his skills to fight back. He reached out to his network of contacts and started digging into Calhoun's past. He uncovered a dark family history and a dangerous obsession with reclaiming the house. But the truth was even worse than he imagined. Calhoun wasn't just obsessed. He was a predator. For years, he had been running a sophisticated scheme, targeting homeowners. He would terrorize families, making them believe their houses were haunted or unsafe, until they were so frightened they'd sell for a fraction of the market value. Then he'd flip the properties for a huge profit. Olan found old blueprints, photos, and documents connecting Calhoun to a cousin who was a contractor cousin who had helped him build the hidden passages in Olan's walls. It all clicked into place. This wasn't just about family history. Olan discovered that new zoning plans were set to dramatically increase his property's value. Calhoun wanted it, and he was willing to do anything to get it. Olan wasn't going to let that happen. He wasn't going to be another name on Calhoun's list of victims. With the help of a trusted friend, a documentary filmmaker, Olan devised a plan. He tracked Calhoun to a secluded farmhouse miles away. He cut off his communication lines, and then he confronted him. Olan walked in holding a file thick with evidence, financial records, surveillance footage from his own home, and even recordings of Calhoun boasting about how he terrorized families. Calhoun tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Olan gave him two choices: confess everything on camera and disappear, or face the mountain of evidence that would send him to prison for a very long time. Trapped and exposed, Calhoun broke. For hours, he confessed to everything, every crime, every scheme, every family he had destroyed. When it was over, Olan gave him 1 hour to run before he turned the confession over to the police. Calhoun fled, but he didn't get far. The police caught him within miles. Olan released the full confession to the public. The story exploded. Within days, other victims came forward, their own terrifying stories finally validated. The FBI launched a full-scale investigation into Calhoun's criminal network. His entire operation unraveled. His cousin, facing serious charges, cooperated with the authorities, and several of their accomplices were arrested. After extensive repairs and security upgrades, Olan and Marcy finally returned home. Their neighborhood welcomed them back with open arms, relieved and supportive. Josephine, their neighbor, apologized with tears in her eyes, grateful that she had trusted her instincts and spoken up. Marcy hugged her, thanking her for being the one who started it all. As Olan stood in his now quiet living room, he felt the immense weight of the past few weeks. He had protected his home, his wife, and his life. When Calhoun was sentenced to a long prison term, a final sense of peace settled over him. The house was theirs again. The walls no longer hid a terrifying secret. They held the promise of a peaceful future. The crying had stopped, the shadows were gone, and the terror that had lived inside their walls was banished for good. Olan had been pushed to his limit, but he had emerged stronger, reclaiming his home, his safety, and his life. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as we did, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.